So actually, EU passed their rules back like in 2015. They targeted non-residents selling physical or digital goods. They had a requirement
Outside
to
the
collect.
EU, is that what non-resident means?
Selling into the EU. So non-residents that are selling into the EU.
So that would be
They,
a ton of software companies.
basically every company that's not EU.
Right.
Yeah, so they were kind of the first to market in terms of having those requirements. But they're the EU, right? They can kind of do whatever they want. When it comes down to single countries, they have a lot harder time because they've developed their own rules and then enforce them. So what has happened basically more so since 2018, we have seen a lot. 2020 and 2021 and continuing in 2022, we are seeing just all around the globe countries basically enforcing similar rules on non-residents that didn't have any kind of presence in the country, but creating rules that specifically target non-residents providing digital goods and services. I have a big list. Actually, I should just get my big list up and run through it.
So these are all countries that are specifically targeting like people selling into their countries for tax.
To their residents. Like it's one of, me and my teams, like we're constantly looking at the laws, the rules, using our advisors to interpret them, and keeping up on this list because it's ever changing. Some notable ones in 2021 were Canada, which is, north to us, Mexico, south to us. We had Thailand, Puerto Rico. Yeah, those are, so 2020, we mentioned Mexico, Indonesia, Malaysia, Chile, Nigeria, Kenya. 2022 has seen a ton. So Ukraine, Israel, Armenia, Vietnam, Cambodia, Egypt, Uruguay. And these are just the ones that we're monitoring because, like, we have sales. There's probably ones on the list where, I haven't looked at because we don't have a large sales volume. But anybody in charge of tax compliance at a company should really be looking at the thresholds and then where the sales are to make sure they stay ahead of it. Europe has some information reporting rules coming out in 2023. Which will require businesses to start disclosing who they're paying. That's huge because now not only are they going to be able to see kind of like what you're filing and remitting on your VAT returns, but they're going to be seeing who you're paying and how much. So then they can start to monitor and have an idea of like what's out there. It's going to be my prediction is that as soon as they're able to really scale this and they have the data on hand, they're going to automate enforcement of it. Things like for information reporting in the US, they actually came out and stated that they were going to start looking at software companies to make sure they're in compliance. I'm going to go out and say that's a very limited scenario. Most countries aren't going to come out and notify you like, hey, we're going after this industry. You have to be ready. I was just going to say that we're also looking at what's starting to on the horizon is they're calling it like electronic invoicing, which is basically you have to, similar to information reporting, is businesses are going to have to start sending each transaction in an electronic format to the government, the local government. So they're going to have all the details of the transaction and will be able to compute themselves whether or not you did or did not collect tax. That will definitely be a shift because that means that you're going to have to do it right. There will be some, there's always kind of an implementation period. So the rules are going to hit and then it'll be, a year before they can really start seeing what's going to happen. But in 2023, there will be big changes. So it's kind of like hold on to your seat because it's going to start.
that's the first one, like the people who are not collecting sales tax, that's them. But then there's the three others that we talked about last time, which is you might be doing it yourself, like somehow trying to, using a tool to spit out a spreadsheet that says where you need to remit and file taxes. You may be hiring somebody else to do that for you, like an accounting firm, or you might be using like a service like ours, which is a merchant record. So, what about those three situations? How's life going to change for those three?
Yeah. I mean, it's up to the business, but the values of each of them are really like if you're going to do it your own and you do have a lot of filing places. I do like Avalara for the US. You do have to know that you have to know how to input all the settings and what rates and how to collect. They don't do that for you. So when you set it up, you really need a tax resource. And then also when you get notices, you can outsource those, but it will cost you definitely. If you're going to go with an advisor, they are always going to take the most conservative approach and say, oh, you have to register and file and collect everywhere, even if it's not good for your business or, you're willing to take on more risk, and they're going to be more expensive, but you will get hands-on kind of consulting and guidance on what to do. The other kind of option is merchant of record, like FastSpring, where we kind of take that on and do it for you, and you always have us as a resource. You leverage our tax knowledge because we put it in our product, and that's what we use to go to market. You can know, like, notices, sellers can come to me, and I will tell them exactly what they need to do. Sometimes it's super easy. Sometimes it's a little bit more elaborate, but that's free. They don't pay for that. They would pay, a lot if they had to go to a local accounting firm that would do that for them. In an audit, they come after FastSpring, and me and my team work on it. They don't come directly to the seller. You're not in charge of monitoring these rules and these big spreadsheets that I have with every country and the upcoming changes. That's all done for you. So it really, I'm a tax person, so I think it's a great value add, but it really does help in the long run.